Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. We're going to talk about Tiana's Bayou adventure, the reskin of Splash Mountain that isn't landing with a splash with a lot of people. But CNN is wading into the situation with a headline that is not going to help Disney at all, I don't think. No. Their headline is, "A new Disney ride opens soon, splashing right out of the culture wars."
Oh my.
Come on. So they're having a hoedown, I guess, in Walt Disney World right now.
They are. They're having a media thing.
And 8 years ago, we would have been invited to that.
I know. You would, yeah. But, we threw that away to do this, you know?
Right.
But now it's safe again because, you know, we threw that away to do this, but we just don't get included.
No, we don't get included anymore, which is fine. I mean, it got after a while, it was like, God, I'm so tired of this. But
you only go to Disney so many times.
You can only go to Disney so many times.
Like, God, I don't want to do it again, please.
I know, and people are like, oh my God, that's like the best thing ever. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought when we started doing this. I thought, oh my God, I get paid to go to theme parks. And I was like, oh my God, I have to go to every event, every cupcake party that they have, and I have to say it's the best thing ever, or I get kicked off the list. I'm like, no, that sucks. So anyway, we're gonna talk about this because there are some people that they invited probably to this media event, and they're even saying that Tiana's Bayou adventure is bland.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hearing a lot of people say. A lot of people are saying that the animatronics are great when they work and where they exist. There's a lot of empty space. The story doesn't make any sense. It's kind of scattered, and not having, like, you know, with the drop, they always had suspense leading up to it. We don't have the Shadow Man, Dr. Facilier, because we can't do voodoo. But since there's no threat, right. There's no danger, it's just stupid. It's just like, it's just not as fun. It's just, I'm not saying it's a bad ride. It's just that it has no direction, and it's boring.
It's boring. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about why it might be so boring. Drew, the Disney dude here, says that they're still working on this Tiana Disney Plus show, and it's going to continue the non-adventures of Tiana after the ride.
Right. And people are saying that. They're like, but nothing happens in the ride to carry on.
So before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about Tiana's Bayou adventure. This is, again, the retheming of Splash Mountain. And there was a lot of backlash when they said they were going to do this. But then some people kind of chilled out and they said, hey, as long as the ride is good, as long as it's better than Splash Mountain, we won't complain too much.
I want to go on record again as saying they were trying to do this for a long time. People are like, that's not true. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
We've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
It is. We heard this rumor several times before it actually, when the whole, my mom calls it the Summer of Love, happened. That they finally got to push through based on that. They had tried and tried and tried. That's why and they even admitted, the one lady even admitted that they had been working on it prior, you know? And that's why they had the art all of a sudden out of their ass. Like, oh, look, the art just magically appeared.
I had heard now, I mean, again, this is, you know, take it for whatever it's worth, but I had heard, even going back to like 2017, that part of the reason that the Princess and the Frog, they based it in New Orleans, was they were thinking eventually it would replace Splash Mountain, because some people at Disney have had a problem with Splash Mountain since before it was even launched. I remember they tried to talk them out of it. They're like, hey, do you really think since we just vaulted the movie that it's a good idea to put a ride out based on Splash Mountain? But they took the human characters out of it, and everybody loved it. And most people didn't even make the connection that they were from Song of the South.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so now again we had the Summer of Love.
I don't understand how you can miss those from Song of the South, but you know.
Well, I mean, they've done a very good job here in America of burying the movie completely.
Well, I know, it's just, to me, it's like people that are getting so pissed about it, you know, so insensitive and all this stuff, never even seen it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. You watch the movie, I'm going to tell you, you can find it for free on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, yes. Go watch it.
Because Disney doesn't have the balls to even copyright strike it. They just they're like, well, I guess if you want to watch it, go ahead. It is bland. It is a bland ass movie. It's definitely a project or a product of its time, mm-hmm. but it's a bland movie, and you really have to look for something to be offended about.
Actually, erasing it does, I think, is worse than leaving it there, because I know a lot of people that are represented by the cast in those stories are upset because there were folklore stories that they were told when they were kids and it was important to them. And they just like, well, it's problematic now because some white Karens are pissed about it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Erase it, and it's just sad.
Hey, the directors of The Princess and the Frog, by the way, were a couple of white guys. Just
Throw
that
that was before current year. Like, we're not allowed. You have to have a black woman to do it. But it's just like our case. You were more upset about. It's our daughter's favorite attraction. She loves Splash Mountain. But she also loves Princess and the Frogs. Tiana's her favorite princess. So she was actually not too upset about it. She was a little upset about it. She wanted to make sure she wrote it before it closed because she loved it so much. But she was more worried it was going to be all screens. And it's kind of sparse on things. But she even saw this and she was kind of excited about it. And she's like, Yeah. It looks boring. And that's what everybody's saying. It's boring. They're so worried about offending people, they took anything out of it that's interesting.
Yeah, that's the truth. And it's like, now supposedly they have mandates that you're not allowed to do voodoo or anything like that. I'm like, well, it's a damn good thing that we didn't, pick a movie that, the plot relies on voodoo. We didn't pick that movie to base the ride on. It's a damn good thing. But yeah, right out of the gate, they're like, it's in preview mode right now for groups including employees and annual pass holders, and it's already elicited mixed reactions in the midst of the culture wars.
Yeah, but look at the next one. The structure of the log flume ride has not changed, but the theme has been completely redone 4 years after Disney first announced the project in 2020 during the same season of the nationwide protests over the death of George Floyd. Why do you think that is, author? Why do you think that is? Because they were trying to push it before, and it got pushed back every time it got even leaked that there was potential, and then they didn't do it. Then that happens, and if you said anything, you were a bigot. Right.
They're like the original Splash Mountain, which first opened in 1989, was based on characters from Song of the South, a 1946 Disney movie that has long been criticized as racist for its stereotypical portrayals of African Americans. Turning it into Tiana's Bayou adventure is also happening at Disneyland with an opening date yet to be announced. Tokyo Disneyland is also home to a Splash Mountain ride, but the theme in that location is not changing because they are not offended by it. It's just a funny animal ride. Actually, in the rest of the world, those characters, the Brer characters, do not have the baggage attached to them that they do here.
They had comics and stuff of them, didn't they? And they were really popular.
I worked on many of those comics, and those were some of my favorite Disney comics. We worked on Disney comics for about 15 years, and I helped restore a lot of more obscure Disney comics. So like a lot of the Brer characters, they were very big in the Netherlands. I found out that like people, they loved those characters because to them, they were just funny animal comics.
Right. Because that's what they based it on, was just the animal stories. They took it out of the problematic parts, just the animal stories, the folklore, the folk tales. Yeah. And then that's a problem now too. But I love this. So, but we have found one lady who's black who says she likes it because characters look like her.
Because they look.
That's what I'm joking.
I know. Yeah.
Says she finally gets experience to characters look like her.
Okay.
It's nice to be seen. Yeah. You know who looks like me? Ariel. Look what happened there.
Anyway. Yeah. She got very emotional toward the end of the finale scene. It was nice to be seen. It was nice to be seen. What would be nice on that is a tree.
Yeah, the lack of tree. I mean, I think it was the weight that it wouldn't support it.
Well, put something else on top of it. I don't know. Put the water. No,
I will say when you come around the side there and the water towers there, it does look nice.
Yeah, I mean, this looks. It looks.
The briar patch was better.
Nice.
I'm not.
The briar patch
was. Look, this looks like a bunch of grass. It's boring.
Yeah, it is.
The briar patch was significantly better, but it doesn't look terrible. But the briar patch was iconic. They're talking about different people, but then they're mentioning that a lot of people think it's boring.
Yeah, they said lukewarm waters. So they said, well, fans have agreed that. So they started out with like they found one person who was like, oh, yes, thank you. I want to be seen. This is the whole purpose, yada, yada. Then they said lukewarm waters. They said, well, fans have agreed that the new technology on the ride, including the projection mapping and the fluidity of the characters' movements, is far superior to the prior version. That's true. Criticism has centered around a lack of plot.
Wait. It's not about racism? I thought this was all about racism.
That's why I said.
I thought you said culture wars, but why? It's culture wars. They hate a ride with no plot. Yes. Clearly, they're bigots.
Disney has said that the ride story takes place chronologically after the movie and involves Princess Tiana inviting guests to a big celebration in the Bayou. That's boring. Jack Kendall, who, okay, let's take a moment. Jack Kendall, host of the Theme Park Fan Podcast, DSNY, who, when we first started criticizing Disney, sent his people after us to criticize us.
To be fair, though, he has said that he was basically sorry for that, and that he wanted to like call a truce because we kept mentioning it.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
don't go after Jack Kendall.
He actually, to be fair, has talked to me since, and he is, yes. So yeah.
Okay, so he was actually on. He was on the How Disney Build America.
They didn't ask us, even though Nealon's quite the encyclopedia on this stuff. They didn't ask us because we're not the right kind of people.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a tism when it comes to like Disneyana. But anyway, he also experienced a new ride recently as a guest of an employee. He said that for an attraction based on the suspense of a 50-foot drop, there's no kind of antagonist within the attraction to have that kind of push and pull. Of that trepidation building up the lift hill and going down the other side. There's no story to it. Boy, if only they had an antagonist who had a fantastic song.
And had a whole story around it. If only they had it sitting right there. Dr. Facilier, one of the most popular modern Disney villains, is right effing there. He's got an amazing song. You could go up the lift hill and they could boom, 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 are you ready? It would have been amazing. Everybody keeps saying that. But beyond that, just the movie in general had more to work with than this story. This story, okay, I'm going to tell you what they did with the story was, how do we not offend anyone and keep it safe?
Yes.
That's what the story is. What's the safest, least offensive story we can tell? That's what the hell this is.
Cooking adventure. This is like one of those like.
It's not even cooking. It's about a party now. It wasn't cooking.
Party
now it's
and cooking and shit. And it's like, it reminds me of like a cozy game on Steam. Like, oh, hey, the plot of this game is go gather ingredients to make a pie for your friends, the animals.
This one's to gather band members for your celebration for music, because they wanted to make sure they focused on different music from New Orleans, even though some of it wouldn't have existed then. But some of it wouldn't even have existed then.
No.
And the thing is, it's like, it's boring.
One job.
It's boring. Yeah, now these people are working on the new stuff, which makes me so happy about that.
Yeah, I don't care about new stuff. They're so
worried about, okay, these are the same people who, when they did the Jungle Cruise, and I've talked about this many times because I'm still boggled they did this. I can't believe they did. They literally, had talked to the people at Animal Kingdom to make sure they were representing the animatronic chimpanzees fairly, so that people were laughing with them and not at them. And I wish I was kidding, but I'm totally not. If you've watched our videos, I'm not. I've showed you the article.
Yeah.
They literally had to go talk to people at Animal Kingdom to make sure that the chimpanzees the animatronics were represented fairly, because they didn't want to offend anyone. Their rides are boring as fuck because they're too busy trying not to offend anyone.
Yes.
Because if we do voodoo, it might offend some people.
Well, offend them. You know what? At the top of the drop, Dr. Facilier's standing at the top of the drop, and he's a well-animated animatronic, and he's flipping you the bird with both fingers. He's like, hey, motherfucker, you're going down the Briar Patch,
that's
bitch.
Not going to happen. No.
That would be, are you ready? You ready to get your ass dropped in the Briar Patch? Get the fuck out of here. Disney magic.
That's not how this works. But anyway,
that's my version of the ride. Splash Mountain. Get the fuck out. That would be amazing. If
you want to offend them more, especially white people.
Oh yeah, fuck you. Get out of here.
I just, they make such a big deal about this.
Drop your white ass, lily white ass into the lily pond or some shit. That'd be amazing.
Listen, I mean, people were like, okay, you can get away with it as long as it's superior to the original.
Yes.
And it wasn't that hard to make it superior to the original. But apparently it's very hard. And it seems like they wanted to keep the cost down, which is why it's mostly like, it feels like Navi River Journey, and it's mostly set pieces and flowers that look like they came from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. And it's screens with fireflies and some music, and they tried very hard to keep it cheap and safe and boring. And that when you ask them what their main takeaways from it is it's boring.
It's boring.
It's nothing to do with race. Everybody's like, this could have been amazing, but yet chickened out, and it's boring.
You said chicken. That's like voodoo. They use chickens.
I thought you were going to say fried chicken or something like that.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, look, I think this one is going to get like a 1.5 update, I think, eventually, because of the backlash.
I don't think they can update it. It's hard. There's fundamentally, unless they take it down again for another year and change everything about it, there's nothing. And then even then, the ride keeps breaking.
Well, then they'll have a reason to take it down.
They had it down all this time to fix it, and they spent all this time putting these animatronics in and a lot of flowers from Hobby Lobby. They didn't even seem to fix the ride track. So it's having the same problems where it kept breaking down. But yes, it's because of the bigots.
Well,
that's why the bigots hate this ride.
That was the excuse they gave people for Journey to Imagination. They said that they had to make the ride shorter because of the track, and then they made it incredibly boring. But then they had to, after a year or two of people complaining, they had to add Figment back to it. So the version of Journey to Imagination now sucks, but it's still better than the original version that didn't have any.
They could redo it and add more track. So you go,
they could.
Bring it back to the point, which is here. Big drop in the culture wars.
The culture wars.
But online vitriol has sometimes gone beyond the merits of the ride. Because petitions on change.org were posted before the fucking ride was open, you idiot. It's gone beyond the merits of the ride. What merits of the ride? The Splash Mountain petitions have been gone for years. Before, it's nothing to do with the merits of the ride. That's a completely a disingenuous argument right there, just to try to be like, look, you're full of shit.
Yeah, and here's the thing: they tried to be like, hey, there's a petition to turn Splash Mountain into the Princess and the Frog at 20,000. Look, Disney listened as if by magic, and then they closed the petition and had 20,000. But there were way more people that wanted to save Splash Mountain, and they also are doing a huge disservice to James Baskett, who got an honorary Academy Award for his role as Uncle Remus. They're just sweeping his legacy under the rug.
Well, it's based on the folktales that the African folktales that they just completely shit on.
Yeah.
And here, Disney has rethemed or modified old rides before, garnering similar attention to fans who resisted change. Recent years, for example, a woman in red features in Pirates of the Caribbean was changed from a wench for sale to a pistol-carrying pirate. Okay, want to talk about representation? Yeah, she was a ginger. I'm a redhead. That would be my representation. I think Red the Pirate is annoying.
Yeah,
I just find her annoying. So you're worried about people needing to see themselves represented and, how it matters to them. And that's your take. That was what you had a whole section on. As somebody who actually would look like Red the Pirate or the Ginger before they turned Red the Pirate, I liked it better when it was before. And again, that was a case of where people internally decided to change it. No one was complaining about it.
Yep.
They just decided to change it.
Yeah, well, and they got booed. They got booed at D23 when they made the announcement they were changing the wench option.
I think it's another case of they wanted to change it so they had a character to IP, for shows and movies.
Yeah. So I actually agree with Jack Kendall here. He says if you took the attraction of Tiana, who the hell is Tiana? If you took the attraction of Tiana's Bayou adventure, all the theming, all the scenes, all the technology behind it, and put it in its own new attraction building, people wouldn't be speaking about the attraction like they are. I think it's the same with the Mickey Mouse ride, too, where they love the Great Movie Ride, and they could have put Mickey Mouse over in the animation building where it would have made a lot more sense to do that.
But this next part, stupid. They be saying it's fantastic. No, because what they're mad about is it's boring. One of the best things Disney has done, but it's because it's being somewhat unfairly compared to what was there before. No. See, here's the thing. You yourself said there was no stakes going up the hill. Okay, so I guess you are unfairly comparing it. You're replacing something. Of course, people are going to compare it to what was there before. That's the most idiotic statement, dude. They're not. People are just comparing it. Well, what did you think they were going to do?
Yeah,
just have amnesia and forget the other one ever existed.
Especially since this one has been so hotly contested and people fought so hard to try to keep it as is, and the reason that they were changing it was purely political.
But the thing is, everybody's going to compare it. Anybody who's written it is going to compare it.
Well, Frozen's, a lot of people still like Maelstrom better. Our daughter likes Maelstrom better than Frozen. And, anytime they make a change like this, I mean, I would kind of look at like Ratatouille. Actually, Ratatouille has more stakes than this ride.
Yeah. But Ratatouille, is the same ride it's been. You're changing a ride. If you're taking the same ride system, you're not redoing it, but it's the same basic location and everything, same basic drop, same basic, pacing, all that stuff. They're going to compare it. If nobody's, who do you think's not going, unless you haven't ridden it before? This is like stupid. Of course people are going to fucking compare it.
Well,
duh.
I'm going to tell you what people are going to think who are writing it. Oh, it's Tiana, so it's going to be the Princess and the Frog, and they're going to write it and be like, that was nothing like the movie. Where's Dr. Facilier?
That's exactly that's what they're doing. That's what they did immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that it wasn't going to be that story because this is what my job. And anybody who listens to us knew it wasn't going to be that story because we've mentioned it before. But, people apparently weren't paying attention because they were very surprised that it wasn't the story from the movie. And this is why. Same with Red the Pirate.
Yep. It's about the IP. So yeah, apparently the Tiana show is going to be a thing on Disney Plus. They're bringing it back up again because of the ride. And great news, everybody. It's going to be just as boring as the ride. It's about Tiana and her cooking adventures. Yay. I don't give a shit. Does anybody give a shit?
Our daughter might. She really likes Tiana.
Well,
but how dare she? She's white. But
how dare she? Yeah, she actually dressed like.
But she's a ginger.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
It works out okay. Checks out.
Yeah, this is not interesting. They're like, oh, she has a restaurant in the food products business, continuing where the ride did with the characters and where they're at. No, that's not interesting. The Princess and the Frog was a fairy tale. It had a story. It was
Princess and the Frog was pretty hardcore in places. It was pretty, it was scary to a lot of kids. Our daughter wasn't afraid of it, but other kids were. It was hardcore. Not this.
After the events of the ride is weird since nothing really happens in the ride other than just going to a party. This kind of reminds me of like My Little Pony. Because back in the 80s, My Little Pony, they fought Satan. That was the pilot episode. Basically fought Satan. And they got turned into dragons. And then the movie, they had this like blob that was like eating all the ponies and shit.
The schmooze.
The schmooze.
Nothing can stop the schmooze.
The schmooze. And then, so they always had stakes, right? But then when they brought the ponies back with the G3s, the ones that you and our daughter were collecting, they just had tea parties and shit.
They did. It was boring. They got boring.
Like, it was really boring and really safe. And that's what this sounds like. This sounds like a safe, boring, bland. Why are you making a show? Why? But she lives happily ever after. And yeah, this is like the restaurant bit. Actually, if it was like Gordon Ramsay, Dr. Facilier was like Gordon Ramsay, I'd watch that.
Well, I don't think he's going to be in it anyway because he's dead.
No, you bring him back. Bring him back.
They could have even done that for this attraction. They could have even, he tries to come back or something.
Yeah, he got pulled to the other side, but he could come back, and you could have that big ass mask that he got sucked into at the top of the. God, it would have been great. Would have been.
And instead of getting sucked in, it's like a dinosaur where it comes out over your head. You dip below it, and you get the safety. You made it. You didn't get sucked in. But no. That might be offensive to somebody or scary, or somebody's heart rate might go up a little bit. Can't have that happen.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. There it is. People not impressed. This is where Disney's at current year, and this is why everybody's excited about Universal because it's just, this is boring. And even if they announce a new park, it's going to be the blandest, most boring thing you've ever seen.
Probably
because this is who's in charge of Imagineering now. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.